Here we are in the real Matrix. We're still here. Hasn't changed. I'm here with my very special guest, Dale Hellestrae. He kind of is coming along to walk me through this because I am probably one of the most unorganized people I know. Dale isn't any more organized, but, you know, two negatives make a positive, so we're going to try to make that work that way. And, you know, from the beginning, Dale has no idea about this. All he does is think about his sports and his nice life with his wife and his family and his grandkids. He could care less about all this going on. And I'm trying to make this a wake-up call to him, because if I can wake him up, I might be able to wake people up there, people out there listening to the same fact that we are living in the real Matrix. And the Matrix, the movie, you know, the computers ran everything. It was a computer-generated world. Everything was fake. It's basically what I'm saying here, because everything we've been told is a lie. And if you look back at our last shows, everything we're talking about at 9/11, one of the most tragic events in our nation's history, one of our most catastrophic events, and we were lied to about all of it. So we're getting down to about the last portion of 9/11, and that is when the plane hit the Pentagon. And we've got so many clips, and we got to get to them right away. Dale was certainly commented after it, but he hasn't seen any of this. He doesn't understand any of this, and you probably don't at home. So let's get right to it. First clip.
9:37, Arlington, Virginia. American Airlines Flight 77 allegedly crashes into the ground floor of the Pentagon. Pentagon authorities will deny that the building had anti-aircraft defense. The FBI arrives within minutes, and the site is declared a federal crime scene, becoming their exclusive responsibility. With the help of civilians, they combed the Pentagon lawn for debris, and within 24 hours, they had confiscated every known video of the attack. Pentagon officials initially denied that any of their cameras captured the event. However, on March 7, 2002, 5 images taken by a security camera from across the heliport are released. For years, these 5 frames were the only public footage of the Pentagon attack. This would change on October 14, 2004, when Scott Bingham would file a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit requesting videotapes that captured the impact of Flight 77. Special Agent Jacqueline McGuire of the FBI located a CD-ROM that contains copies of 2 time-lapse recordings made by security cameras, released on March 16, 2006. A video taken from a Citgo gas station, which is open only to Pentagon employees, released on September 15, 2006. And the Doubletree Hotel in Arlington, Virginia, released on December 7, 2006. Agent McGuire concluded that the FBI possessed 85 videotapes that might be potentially responsive. As of this date, we have no clear images of what happened at the Pentagon on the morning of 9/11. The official story goes as such. American Airlines Flight 77 was taken over by 5 hijackers, led by Hani Hanjour. Hanjour entered the United States in 1996 to become a professional airline pilot. He would not complete a single course.
This is a weak student who was wasting our resources.
Kind of a waste of time. He wouldn't show up for flights on time, didn't do his homework.
Instructor, quote, he didn't know what the instruments were for. Officials don't know how he got his pilot's license. And then also Pan Am officials said he was such a bad pilot, they questioned if his license was genuine. They didn't know or think that he even should have a pilot's license.
Average or below average piloting skills. English was very poor, uneventful from our perspective.
And instructor was amazed he was able to hit the Pentagon because he said he couldn't fly at all.
The 9/11 Commission concludes that Hanjour was perhaps the most experienced and highly trained pilot
Flight 93's hijacker, Saeed Al-Ghamdi, was a former Saudi fighter pilot. How could Hanyour be more experienced than him?
Sounds like lies.
On the morning of 9/11, Hani Hanyour and his 4 accomplices traveled to Dulles International Airport outside of Washington, D.C. They had spent the weeks beforehand at the Valencia Motel in Laurel, Maryland, 6 miles from the National Security Agency.
Convenient.
All 5 will set off metal detectors and be subjected to additional screening, yet all of them proceed to board American Airlines Flight 77, which is described by the Washington Post as unusually light on passengers. Out of 188 seats, 64 would be filled. In fact, all 4 planes involved in 9/11 would be at approximately 30% capacity.
Strange.
The hijackers will board alongside Barbara Olson, the wife of Solicitor General Ted Olson, and a number of employees from Boeing, Raytheon, the Department of Defense, Lockheed Martin, American Airlines, the Navy, Army, and other government agencies. The pilots were Officer David Charlebois and Captain Charles Burlingame. Charles Frank Burlingame III, an aeronautical engineer and a graduate of both the Naval Academy and Top Gun Fighter Pilot School, flew F-4 fighter jets and developed anti-terrorism strategies at the Pentagon before retiring in 1989 to take a job at American Airlines. He would remain active in the reserves and anti-terrorism exercises until 1996. His Boeing 757 would be crashed into the very section of the Pentagon he used to work in. The hijackers would have only moments to subdue both Charlebois and Burlingame, remove them from the cockpit, and retain control of the airplane. Yet, the plane is hijacked without incident at 8:51 and makes an unauthorized turn to the south 3 minutes later. No mayday, no hijack code, no sign of struggle. Flight 77 will fly all the way back from the Kentucky-Ohio border, coasting for another 43 minutes against its flight path before crashing into the Pentagon without any military interception. Had Hani Hanjour wanted to inflict maximum damage, all he had to do was continue his trajectory and nose down into the roof of the Pentagon. Instead, he begins a complicated 330-degree turn, dropping 7,000 feet and exposing himself for an additional 3 minutes while executing a maneuver described by experienced pilots as nearly impossible, requiring professional expertise. In essence, an amateur pilot considered a waste of resources by instructors, who was unable to control a small Cessna in August 2001, executed this nearly impossible maneuver in a 757 with skilled precision a month later.
So, let's go over the details of that. We got a pilot who they say can't fly. We've got a handful of terrorists that, if you even look at them, I don't know what size these guys are.
Right.
But they don't look like they're football players. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Little guys with a box cutter, and the pilot, the one pilot, was a fighter pilot who specialized in anti-terrorist, maneuvers.
Correct.
An old Navy guy, what was it, Navy or whoever, whatever he was in. This guy's been military his whole life, and he's not going to put off a warning that someone is hijacked the plane, or even take those box cutters right out of their hands. Get the heck out of here. And then actually go back to the point where there's only 5 frames of the impact of the building. But if you look back on it, if you watch a plane fly, it flies very fast. But there's no way a 767 can go from outside of the frame of a picture into a building without seeing it. It doesn't fly that fast. You saw the building, you saw no plane, and all of a sudden you see flash, boom. Now, you know what goes faster than an airplane? A missile. Airplanes don't go that fast. There is proof. That is video proof. It was not an airplane that hit the Pentagon. That is a missile. And we're gonna get more proof of that as we go on. But
Okay, so then the natural question is, where's the airplane?
Again, Dale, I wasn't involved in the planning
You
of this.
sound like you were.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what I do know. Again, I don't know where the plane went. Again, did you see the people that were on board? Military, Department of Defense, Boeing, Lockheed, military industrial complex people. Right. They get on, they fly away, they land somewhere privately. Everyone gets off, thank you, good night. Then a fighter jet comes with a missile and bombs the Pentagon.
But wouldn't these people resurface at some point? Wouldn't you see that pilot?
I can show you in the future. We're not going to do it now, but I'll give you a teaser. Remember the Challenger rocket that went up and Christy McAuliffe, she was the teacher. They all died.
Yeah.
I will show on this program somewhere down the line clips of allegedly, well, you can question, there are people still alive with those names out doing, just still living in America. Christy McAuliffe, I think I'm not mistaken, is a professor somewhere in Wisconsin in a college. There is video proof, picture proof of all of the cast, and I call it a cast. They're not astronauts. All of the cast of people that were allegedly in the Challenger rocket that are still out there living their lives. Dale, I can't show everything all at the same time. Right. I don't just pull it out of my pocket and go, here it is. We'll show it another time.
I think you pull it out somewhere else.
Yeah,
sometimes.
maybe. But again,
I can buy, because if you don't find airline,
there's no airplane there.
Engine.
No,
there can't be an airplane there. But then the next logical question is, well, then what happened to the people that were supposedly on that airplane?
I think I told you, not only, and you saw it last week's show, how the flight that crashed into Pennsylvania, there was a report from a reporter that it landed in Cleveland because there was alleged bomb.
So where's
board.
my Let's Roll guy?
You're stuck on the Let's Roll guy. The Let's Roll guy, he is no different than an actor in a movie, and he might not even be a real person. They concocted him to make this story. And I think they also said, if you think back on this story, that they called from the airplane.
Yeah.
How do you call from an airplane? I don't know if there were on-board flight but people immediately thought, they called on their cell phone. Cell phones don't work up there. They don't. Try to make a call next time when you're on a cell phone, from your cell phone on an airplane. Doesn't work.
Oh.
Doesn't work. The whole story was concocted. The whole story was concocted. And these people are players. They're actors. They concocted a story, and whether the writer who wrote the story that made the movie Let's Roll was in on it, or he was told the story and he's like, he doesn't know any better. He's like, wow, this is great. I'm going to have a great story. Wherever he got the information from, it's false. It's fantasy. It didn't happen.
So then the next logical question that an intelligent human being like me would ask was, as I said at the last show, the fact that you and we can keep a secret. You bring Riley, you bring Steve. The bigger the group, the more chances are that somebody's going to say something.
If you are in a group that is you are all connected to this agenda, that this cause,
Yeah.
You're all connected to this cause that we need to get power. We need a one world government. We can't have normal boobs like you and me and everyone else watching out there. We can't have them dictating how our world runs, how our country runs. We're going to run it. We're going to do the one world government. We need to get in power. They're at war. They're all together. This is a war. If you break silence, you're a traitor. These people they have an agenda. They have a cause to ruin America. And they needed this to create what we talked about in earlier shows, the Patriot Act, so they can surveil you 24/7. It gave the government so much power to take away our freedoms. That's what they wanted. And all of these people involved with this, they're on board with this. And like I said, this just didn't happen over the course of a year. They have been planning the destruction of America for over 100 years. And you can go back to the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. That was not made to help us. That was to destroy our financial system, our economy. They control everything. They've been doing this for years and years and years. If I'm in charge of something, and let's say I'm an evil SOB, and I want to, here at the station, I want to ruin everything. Who am I going to bring in? Am I going to bring in someone who's wants to do a good job, or they're going to be subversive? I'm going to bring in someone subversive. They're in on that. They want that. They don't like to see. Let's say I didn't like the real man. Let's say I didn't like Robat TV. You bring in someone to destroy Robat TV, and they bring in someone, and they bring in someone, and they bring in someone. You have a cause. You have a cause. And if you say, well, why wouldn't it come out? There are whistleblowers out there trying to bring the truth to the public every day. Every day. And that information doesn't get to you because you're worried about the score in the basketball game tonight or the score in the football game tomorrow. You don't care what's going on. People don't care what's going on.
Right.
There's whistleblowers out there everywhere saying it. There are people who made this video that have this proof. Nobody is allowed to see it. They make it hard for you to see. That's why, for people out there listening right now, you have a gift of hearing things you're not going to hear in the mainstream media. You're not going to hear on your ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, PBS, any of that. They would never play this. They wouldn't even discuss it. And if you've watched all along from these shows, you tell me how what you have seen makes sense. I'm not a raving lunatic, although I do sound like it right now.
Sometimes.
This is just hard, solid truth and facts. It's just facts. And you got to make your decision.
And where I'm coming from right now, I can buy everything you're selling.
Okay? I'm not selling. I'm just pointing it out.
But you kind of are. You've got all this evidence, and you're trying to get people to wake up and believe. I can buy almost all of it. I just can't buy the amount of people that it takes to pull this off, and not 10, not 20, not 30 of them band up and say, hey, we got to let everybody know what the hell went on.
You're going through it. Dale played the NFL for 100 years, and that's what's caused his brain damage. But he has a claim against the NFL. You should have injury. What's the word?
It's a concussion case.
Concussion cases. Listen, I don't think there's a person out there in America that says football isn't dangerous. Football is dangerous. There are concussions all the time. We have found out, I don't think there's anyone out there that can't say concussions cause brain injuries. And NFL players have had many concussions, and that causes serious damage or illness right now, later in life. there should be rewards for that, or there should be
Compensation.
Thank you. Have you been compensated yet?
No.
Why not?
Well, it's a deeper story than that.
Yeah,
but-
no. The reason is they'll continue to push it off. Yeah, yes. There's a lot of people out there. I'm not talking to everyone that's listening is not saying, "Oh, this is news to me." They think 9/11 was sketchy, weird,
Right.
whatever. But what goes on about it? It gets pushed to the side.
I gotta go to work.
It gets,
I gotta.
It gets pushed aside. I want to scream from the top of my lungs. 9/11 was a problem, but you know what? I got work. I got kids. I got work. I got family. I got this and that. I can't. I don't have time to do this. It gets pushed to the side. COVID, and we will have plenty of shows on COVID. You were told if you got a vaccine, everything would be fine. Then they were told, well, if you got a vaccine, you won't give it to someone else. Then you were told, well, if you get a vaccine, you still could get it, you still get sick, but you won't die from it. It's less. The narrative change. They just keep moving the finish line.
Well, you need to wear a mask.
Yes, mass. It's all nonsense they tell us. I tell you what, and we do have a lot more clips to go.
Yeah.
Riley, please give me the next clip.
After all, there must have been some photographic evidence that showed that a 757 had hit the Pentagon. But as we went through all these photographs, we could find no pictures whatsoever showing a tail, a nose, a fuselage, wings, engine, wheels, luggage, seats, nothing. There were no photographs showing any recognizable wreckage from a 757. Furthermore, when you look at the size of the hole at the Pentagon, it was approximately 65 feet across, and the height of the Pentagon is approximately 73 feet. From wingtip to wingtip, a 757 is 124 feet 10 inches. From nose to tail, a 757 is 155 feet and 3 inches in length, and the height is 44 feet and 6 inches. However, when you look at the hole at the Pentagon, you'll find that it's only approximately 65 feet across. How does a plane of those dimensions fit into a hole only 65 feet across? Upon further inspection, we found that the damage at the Pentagon was completely and totally inconsistent with the damage of the planes that had hit the World Trade Center. I mean, after all, the planes that hit the Trade Center created a fire so intense that it fatigued the steel and collapsed the buildings, or so that's what we were told. And yet, when you look at the left side of the Pentagon, you'll note that there is very little, if any, smoke damage or heat damage at all. On the third floor, it's very plain to see a file cabinet with a computer monitor. Neither of them are damaged. On the second floor, you can see a wooden desk. It hasn't burned. And on the first floor, a very curious sight indeed, a wooden stool with a book that is laying and open. The pages aren't even singed. Now, each of the planes involved in the September 11th attacks had embarked upon transcontinental flights, which means that they had a majority of their fuel left over when they hit their respective targets. That means that approximately 8,600 remaining gallons of fuel would have been ignited on the 757 that had hit the Pentagon. Again, we look at the photograph and ask ourselves, is the smoke and heat damage consistent with that amount of fuel being ignited?
So, I tell people.
No,
this all-
I'm buying that.
It's like-
Obviously, everything there says that the plane didn't hit that.
How does listen? And actually, we're going to see in some that people say the hole in the building was about 20 by 20, which is about what we've heard before in regards to missiles and what damage they do. But so when that missile hit, it kind of blew. But all right, so what was it? 65 feet, 70 feet, whatever it may be. Where'd the wings go? So the plane went in and disintegrated, and the wings just disappeared. Like a fairy godmother picked up the wings, said, "There ain't no wings hitting this building." It's gone. Where are they? I mean, when you look at that evidence scientifically or with your eyes, your own eyes, where's the plane? Where are the wings? How can anyone think that a plane hit that building? Yet we do. And then, so I don't want to pick on you this, but so you look at all the evidence, the towers, how they couldn't have come down. Where's the airplane? But then when we talk, you get stuck on, well, how about the guy that said, let's roll?
Yeah. That's my guy.
Yeah, it's the powers that be use information and propaganda to fool, and I don't want to pick on you, simpletons. And I'm not. That's not a knock. We just eat up without thinking, without using critical thinking. We just eat up whatever the narrative is that we hear, and they count on that, and we do it every time. We fall for it every time. It's embarrassing. If you fall, you should be embarrassed. And when you see this, if you still don't get it, it's just very embarrassing.
Well, so I think the things that you need to focus on, though, are the couple things that you mentioned. The fact that's that financial part of the Pentagon. And that a couple days later, supposedly $2 trillion went missing.
You know what? We're gonna play that. I swear that's maybe the next clip. If it's not, it's coming up real soon. So, Riley, let's get to that.
Also, the fuel spill of 8,600 gallons would have posed a very large soil removal and disposal project, since the contaminated soil would be considered hazardous waste under Title 40 of the Code of Federal Regulations. Another interesting question that is raised is in the photographs of the collapsed area of the Pentagon. If you'll note the upper floor and roof area, it appears that that area simply collapsed and does not show any impact damage from a tail section that was over 43 feet in height. How could a 757 slam into the Pentagon and not have an impact area where the tail section would have hit the upper floors?
Sorry, the money thing is going to come at the end of the show, so you got to stick around. that wasn't planned.
Now you're catching my attention. If that in fact is true, that a couple days, a week, whatever after this, all of a sudden it was found out that
it was the day before.
Okay,
Donald Rumsfeld. You're going to see at the end of the show. Donald Rumsfeld did a press conference. Said, we just can't find $2.3 trillion. So
and nobody lost their mind.
Hey, you got to go to work. You got kids. Hey, you got the basketball game, Dale. That's really important. Who cares about the $2.3 trillion we just lost? Hey, the basketball game's on tonight. I can't bother myself with that.
Are you thinking a lot of that money went to fund this operation?
All of our taxes, all of our money, all of it is money laundering going back to these criminals. If you think any of our money goes toward important resources, goes to important things that help blue-collar Americans and individuals, we'll have to do a whole nother show on that. It just doesn't happen. This is all money laundering. I tell you what, before we go to break, I just want to do one more quick clip in regards to this. I was under the impression that the Pentagon was one of the most heavily fortified buildings in America. And you would think they have cameras everywhere. Mm-hmm. And we don't have any film of
especially safeguarding the financial records.
Where's the film of it? Where's the cameras? Play the next clip, Riley.
These 5 frames were released from a security camera at the Pentagon. The only problem is that the release of these 5 photographs seemed to raise more questions than they answered. First of all, why was the date incorrect in the lower left corner of the screen? Second of all, they really didn't show that there was a 757 that had hit the Pentagon. And thirdly, many people asked, is this the only security camera that was on at the Pentagon? The Pentagon. This is the nerve center for the United States military, supposedly the most secure building in the country. And this is the only video footage that was available of the most heinous attack ever recorded at the Pentagon? Where were all the other security cameras aimed? What about the security cameras that were on in the hallways of the Pentagon? Every inch of the Pentagon is under video surveillance. Where are those video cameras? We also had a report about a gas station whose video camera was pointed in the exact direction where the 757 would have hit the Pentagon. Shortly after the event, it was reported that federal officials showed up at that gas station and confiscated that footage.
Is that just a coinky date, Dale? Just a coincidence that all the film was collected by the FBI, CIA, whoever these criminals are that were collecting it all and having it disappear?
No, I mean, again, I'm buying what you're selling on the Pentagon.
Okay.
I don't see how you can say there's an actual plane that crashed there. And then when you tie to it the stuff that you've said before, not on air, but the money missing, well, okay, I can see that's a criminal act.
Yeah. So, all right, we got to go to break. We've got a lot more clips to play, and we want to get it done in the time allotted. So hang with us. We'll be right back to The Real Matrix. Want to make your love life sizzle like a Phoenix summer? Summit Male Medical guarantees to help you with ED or premature issues, or we won't charge you. We've helped tens of thousands of patients here in the Valley since 2008. Please compare our most experienced medical staff and low-price treatments to anybody. If you've talked to the rest, it's time to come to the best. Put the sizzle back in your love life. 480-398-1000 or go to summitmalemedical.com. Summit Medical, love for life.